Microphone check. Happy Thursday, everybody. Good to be here. Good to be seen wherever you are, however you may be listening. Thanks for making us part of your day. We made it to Thursday. This is the worst day of the week, and here we are sharing it together. It's wonderful to be here. Great news, guys. No Jen. Jen isn't here today, so we can do whatever we want. We can say whatever we want. We can do whatever we want. We can break whatever we want. There are absolutely no rules today. YouTube shouldn't be private. We just had to. Sorry. When Jen uploaded the thumbnail, it went to the wrong date. So that's actually why we were late, because the thumbnail was on the wrong date. So you just got to go to the right date. Sorry for everybody else. But yeah, no adults here today. Thank you, Jesus Skywalker. So it's gonna be a shit show. Just so you guys know, because I know in the chat we like to help. If people want to debate today, they're going to need to message one of our wonderful mods, Casey, and it's 11:30 a.m. where she's at, I think. So she's probably high, so that's good. And there's the Discord username today, Travel Casey. So that's how we'll do it today. The hat is blue. It is a navy blue hat. Wait, if Jen is here, what are you going to do when you don't have any sort of problem? Uh-oh. Yeah, we can stay up late, eat candy. You fuck it, have your dessert first, friends. Do whatever you want. Oh, I still have to join the VC? Fuck, Jen is here. Hold on, guys. Shit, I thought she wasn't going to be here. Maybe she's not. Maybe somebody else is. Oh, I'm in this. No, she's not here. I'm in the stream VC alone. Okay, don't worry. We're okay. I think either Casey or Kim is going to join the VC, and they'll try and help out where they can. That being said, just as always, as a reminder, on TikTok at some point soon, we'll probably get banned. Not a lot we can do about that. But before we do, if you run up those likes, that would be greatly appreciated. If you'd like me to read anything that you say, just send we have the 3 payment options above us. The blue with the V, the $, which is the cash of the app, and paying your pal. That's another option. And all those usernames are above us. And did I miss anything else? I don't know. I wasn't ready for it, Bree. I wasn't ready for that. I never know why I get banned. YouTube waiting lobby went private. Yeah, William, sorry. We just had the wrong stream set up for today. We had tomorrow's stream set up for today, and that's what happened. So we fixed it right before I went live. So I apologize. It'll take a little bit of time for people to roll in. Let's jump right into the show today. A lot of stuff we didn't get to yesterday, which is great because it took less time getting started today. I had a nice, calm morning. I wasn't stressed, and we learned something new about Republicans, or maybe not so new. South Carolina Republican representative and co-founder of South Carolina State House Conservative Freedom Caucus, R.J. May, has been arrested for distributing images of children being SA'd, which not great. 10 counts is what he's being charged with. But this was the part that I wanted to show you. Is May has represented House District 88 in Lexington County since 2021, got reelected in November because there was no opposition. But according to court documents and statements made in court, in April 2024, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children received a cyber tip from the social messaging app Kick, right-wing app. Kick flagged several videos from the username Joe Biden 69. That was his username. It's always like all the fuck Joe Biden's and Joe Biden is a danger to kids and sniffs kids. That it's a lot of projection. A lot of projection. Listening while you're playing the front nine. If I slice, it's your fault. Actually, if you slice, it's because you came from outside to in with an open club face. And if you go outside to in with a closed club face, then you hit that low duck hook. It's the same swing, just different club face. That's why you're hitting a slice. Welcome to RTP Golf Tips. Day 1 of the U.S. Open. Anyways, Joe Biden 69 made me laugh there. At least we could find some humor. They always do that. It's always projection. This dude's doing like the worst thing imaginable. And he's like, I'm going to do the worst thing imaginable. So I'm going to make my username Joe Biden 69. And I do think that is like a glimpse into some Republicans where they think like Democrats are just evil. Like everything about Democrats is evil. Joe Biden's like now that he's not president, and the Republicans have calmed the fuck down. Are we ready at some point to admit that Joe Biden was just like a really good person? The amount of times they tried to smear him is unbelievable, and they never stuck. It is so easy to smear a politician. It is so easy to find dirt on a politician. And after 4 years for Joe Biden, the biggest thing they could come up with is that his son's kind of a piece of shit. Like, his son's just kind of shitty. And Joe Biden as a father, maybe he's a great father. And maybe he overlooked some of his son's behavior. And I guess you could say he loved his son too much. That was it. That was all the dirt we had on Joe Biden, is that his son was kind of shitty. It's crazy. Like, even Obama had some stuff. Like, Obama had he had like some more like radical type leanings. He had that pastor that was, I don't remember what he had said. I think he had like said, "God damn America," not "God bless America," "God damn America," or something like that. There was at least like and of course he was born in Kenya, which we all know. Just kidding, TikTok. That was a joke. TikTok, please don't. That was a joke. We all know that Joe Biden was born, or Barack Obama was born in Hawaii. Tan suit. I did forget the tan suit. That's unforgivable. I do agree with that. I think that if you're looking at like actions from the president, it's like tan suit, then January 6th. But tan suit is definitely the number one. All right. Anyways, there's your Republicans acting like Republicans. Do I want to go to this one? I'm just going to jump into this. There is a weird thing going on. I was just listening to a live. I saw. Actually, let me find this DeSantis video first. I want to show you this first. There's this push right now going around on the right about these protests, and it's always the case. And by the way, it's going around on the left too. I want to say this because I think somebody's going to ask, but there's that Craigslist post where like they're saying that the Fight LLC is hiring people to come stand in for the Trump military parade. I don't know if it's true or not. I've seen the ad. I know, but you know how sometimes it's so stupid you think it might not be true. This is a really difficult thing with covering Donald Trump. Is a lot of the times, like probably 70% of the time, I hear something and I'm like, that's too crazy. There's no way it's true. And at least half the time it winds up being true. So I don't know. It's on Craigslist. I don't think that's good for the argument. Kind of anybody could put anything on Craigslist. What I would love to see is one of these creators to like follow through with the steps and see if they actually can go and get paid. I do know people have made fake ads before. I have no idea if that's good or not, but I think they say, how much did they say it was? It says paid in crypto. Yeah, did see that. Just fun. Networks wrote an article about it, but it could be a fake poster. Is anybody confirmed that it's Fight LLC? I haven't seen if anybody confirmed that. Let me find this Ron DeSantis video. All right, here's what Ron DeSantis is saying this morning. So you have the No Kings protests. I think somebody on this stream came up and talked about that the other day on Friendly Friday. And although no violence has happened, although there's no violence planned, Republicans are already like, now they're preemptively just saying like, fuck them. Here's what Ron DeSantis had to say. With a protest that, again, there's no evidence that these protests are not going to be peaceful, that they're going to be problematic at all. Here's Ron DeSantis, little man Ron, this morning.
And we also have a policy that if you're driving on one of those streets and a mob comes and surrounds your vehicle and threatens you, you have a right to flee for your safety. And so if you drive off and you hit one of these people, that's their fault for impinging on you. You don't have to sit there and just be a sitting duck and let the mob grab you out of your car and drag you through the streets. You have a right to defend yourself in Florida.
Yeah, and also fucking everywhere else. If a mob surrounds your car and they start beating on your car and trying to, you can drive away. You could do that. But this is how they're preempting. Like, they're already, see how this works? They're already getting everybody worked up before the protest ever happens. They want so desperately for the people on the left to turn violent so they can use the military. Ron DeSantis has his dick in his hand right now thinking about calling in the National Guard. Somebody farts at a police officer in Florida, and this bitch is going to call the National Guard. Yeah, the bootlickers are out in full force. We're all mask off. The freedom-loving patriots are just like, oh, I can't wait to use the military against American citizens. Like, why are we escalating early? And then you have this from Cuomo. This blew my mind a little bit. I was surprised when I saw this. Here's former CNN host Andrew. Is it Andrew? Is he Chris? Andrew. This is Andrew, right? Which one's the Chris? Is this Chris? Now I can't remember which one's which. Which guy's this? Is this Chris or Andrew? Where's the chat? Chris? Okay, thanks. I always forget which one is which.
Don't miss the forest for the trees with these demonstrations. We have bigger issues than the political and legal battles that are playing out about ICE or deploying troops. They matter.
What bigger issues do we have currently in this country that are more important than ICE arresting sometimes innocent people, sometimes American citizens? Just out of curiosity, what are these bigger issues that we have to worry about?
But not as much as what I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
We have bigger problems at play on streets all over our country.
Okay.
Dozens of protests have erupted throughout the country. You know that, right? We're focused on LA, but they're all over the place.
Yeah.
And they are all related, and we're not talking about it. So we're doing the work.
We are talking about it
Here at NewsNation to connect the dots. And I have a lawmaker on tonight that's starting the same drive in Congress. And I'm telling you, these protests are not really just about ICE. Oh. They are a coordinated effort to recruit as many people and different types of groups that may have different ideas, but they all share a common goal: destroying the West, democracy, our country.
Raise your hand, folks, if you have been to these protests and you were part of a coordinated group who hates our country and wants to undo democracy. The people that are the people that are like running the deportations, right, or these ICE raids right now, the people that are in power right now, they're all telling you that they want to end democracy. All of them. They legitimately want to end democracy, and we got Chris Cuomo on here doing fucking conspiracy theories on NewsNation. And I want to show, the reason I want to show you this is what counts as journalism. This is why nobody trusts the fucking media. You're about to see a completely paid for, transparently partisan attempt to loosely link. There we go. There's the live. My live's already restricted on TikTok. They're trying to link these protests to who? China and the communists. The non-communist Chinese, by the way.
This is the fundamentalist threat playing out. We're just not calling it that because we're not seeing it like that because we're so caught in this right versus left BS. The latest salvo after the embassy shootings, the IVF clinic, the healthcare CEO murder, the campus chaos, now.
Are any of those things related? Are any of those things related? Let's go through them again. Just some of them I may not know what he's talking about. Let's see.
We're just not calling it that because we're not seeing it like that because we're so caught in this right versus left BS. The latest salvo after the embassy shootings, the
embassy shootings. Okay. The embassy shootings were directed at this at Israel, right? That's why that violence happened, because people are upset with Netanyahu and Israel. Not justified. Just to be clear for all the Republicans in here, I am not trying to justify any of the actions that I'm about to discuss. I'm just wondering how a journalist who gets paid a lot of money And I'll tell you who he gets paid by in a minute. I just want to know how a journalist felt comfortable going on TV and linking all of these events. So the first is the embassy shooting, which we know the person was protesting the state of Israel. I believe had, correct me if I'm wrong, did that person, was that person Islamic as well? Was there some sort of like connection to an Islamic like radical group? I can't remember if that was the case or not. We can look, but I feel like that was the case, right? That person had some sort of connection to a fundamentalist Islamic group. Is that right? All right, and let me know if that's right. Here's the second one.
IVF clinic, the healthcare CEO.
The IVF clinic, that was clearly right wingers, right? Like that's the other side of the aisle. The healthcare CEO, that was just like a kid that like came from means that was protesting healthcare companies just killing people. Like these don't even seem connected at all. Not even like you could say like this is the left or the far left. This is radical, like fundamentalist, radical Islamic terrorists, whatever you want to call it, terrorism. And then you have right-wing terrorism, and then you have a guy who seems to have worked all by himself, who seems to like nobody has connected him to anything else. It just seems like that was something he did. You see how they do that? Like this is one of the most transparent pieces of propaganda I've ever seen in my entire life.
Murder, the campus chaos.
What was the campus chaos? Now the campus chaos, like that's a protest against Israel, the state of Israel. So that's not related. You said that somebody said that guy was from Egypt. So you have an Egyptian with ties to radical Islamic groups. You have a right-wing attack. You have what appears to be an attack by somebody on the left that was isolated. Like, there's no connection here. This is what Charlie Kirk does too. This is what propagandists do. You just lay out a bunch of things that aren't connected, but you do them in rapid succession, and you get the person watching to emotionally like get involved in this story and emotionally think, scared. And so by the time he gets to what he's going to talk about today, you're already scared. He's just talking about a bunch of death. And by the way, in the background, he's showing the violence, right, in LA, as if that's also related. Do you see how the propaganda works here?
Now it's these. It's all part of a growing fundamentalism that is the biggest threat to all of us. You got neo-nationalists in the same place as far-left radical anarchists and extreme Islamists.
Yeah, and what are they? Yeah, that's actually kind of true. What are they fighting? A tyrannical government. And here comes old bootlick Chris to bootlick. All of the this entire thing right here, this entire protest is protesting a perceived tyrannical government. I know that Republicans don't think this is a tyrannical government, but that's what the protest is. That's why you're getting people from the right. That's why you're getting people from the far left. The communists and the libertarians both agree with this. They're both like, no, we don't need the government like coming into our neighborhoods and knocking on doors, trying to find people, coming into our workplaces. This is too heavy-handed. And then the bootlickers like Chris, who their money just depends on pushing out the message of whoever's paying them, which we'll get to in a minute.
This is not organic. It's not just protest. It's not one community coming together to fight oppressive tactics. It's not really about ICE, I'm telling you.
Oh, it's not.
And most important and most dangerous is that there's clearly organization and funding of these protests. Two questions: who and why? Now, let's start with
all the protests he just named. Let's just keep this in mind. None of them are related. So he just lays out this story of all these things being connected, which he doesn't tell you how they're connected because they're not. And now he's going to link it. Here comes the conspiracy.
The truth. It's not uncommon for protests to receive funding and organization from political groups. I had a guy on the show who pays people to protest. I mean, that's a thing. Okay, but not these. These protests are fed by dark sources with a desire for our destruction. One of the main players in organizing and funding the Los Angeles protests is a group called CHIRLA, okay? CHIRLA, acronym. Coalition for Humane Immigration Rights, Immigrants' Rights, whatever. Dig a little, and that starts to look like a misnomer. They have received millions in government grants and state grants, but now reports are showing that there may be a foreign link, specifically from China.
Oh, it's China. Here comes the communism. Did you see it coming? Did you see it coming from 50 miles away? Red Scare. Let's do Red Scare shit. By the way, did you hear what he said right there? Most of their funding has come from government grants. But now, look what we found here. A little Chinese money. You guys know the communists, the Chinese. Watch how loosely this link comes together.
Funding and organizing these protests. Where in China? Who in China? The pro-Chinese far-left Party for Socialism and Liberation. They're known as the PSL. They are working with Churla, helping fund the protests in Los Angeles and maybe elsewhere. Remember, all the parties in China are controlled by the CCP. So this is China.
Also, that's not true. Like this kind of blanket statement is not true. It is true that the CCP has their hand in businesses and industry. It is true that the CCP has a surveillance state that Republicans would come to if they could look at it. It would just absolutely explode them in their pants. It's true that your speech is limited in China compared to the United States. It is very true that the Chinese government is like fairly authoritarian. That all of that is true. But this idea that like Chinese people aren't allowed to speak is bullshit. This idea that every organization is controlled by China is bullshit. And by the way, you know what everybody says about America? The same fucking thing. And you know what they would show to prove that we were controlled by foreign entities or by like government entities? They would show this clip of Chris Cuomo. They would show a guy doing the most obvious, like, low-level dipshit propaganda, and they'd be like, see? This is just like this, the American side here, and again, I'll just tell you, NewsNation is funded. Does anybody here, without looking, if you Google, don't put it in the chat. If you didn't, does anybody know who the biggest shareholder or biggest partner of NewsNation is? Does anybody know? Check one. Every Chinaman in the country reports to the CCP. That's right. Excuse me, you are fake news. Thank you. What do I see? NRA. It's not who you think. Rupert Murdoch has some money in there. It's Qatar. It's the Qatari government. It's that coalition in the Middle East right now. There's that whole coalition with the Saudis, the Qataris, UAE, and they want to compete with China. They're funded. That's who's funding this. An enemy, people who consider themselves like a little bit of an enemy, people who want to destroy China. Let's be honest about this. It's not about democracy. It's not about communism. If you're scared of communism, you're a bitch. If you're afraid of other forms of government, you're just a bitch. Stop being afraid of China. Knock it off. We are not China. China is our economic competition. We got to stop using the word enemy. When have we ever been in a fight with China? We're not going to war with China. This isn't happening. They're trying to smear China, and they're trying to make the left China because they know. And I want to speak directly to the millennials. If there's the camera, directly to the millennials, because I'm a millennial too. We got to get it the fuck together, millennials. We're all turning into our dipshit parents. You remember, like our parents got like Fox News and CNN, and they became just like indoctrinated hamsters. Just whatever they say is true, and they just ran on the fucking hamster wheel. And we're the same way with the internet. We're the same. We got to stop this shit. Like it or not, millennials are going to be in charge for a little while in the government, and we got to figure some shit out before we start putting our people in the government. This kind of dipshittery should go away immediately. Anybody who watched this and got scared, you need to sit down and have a chat with them. I think we should all show this to our millennial friends and our parents and our grandparents. And if they watch this and they get scared, we're going to turn it off and we're going to have a discussion about how it's too easy for them to be scared of things. Because he has given you nothing to be afraid of so far.
And the party is pushing to destroy capitalism and the West.
China is a capitalist country. They have a mixed economy just like we do. Why the fuck would China want to destroy capitalism? Capitalism has kept them afloat. They need America. They want America to buy their goods. This conspiracy theory makes no fucking sense. One, like, they're not communists. They're the Communist Chinese Party. They don't practice communism. They're beating us at capitalism right now. Why are the communists beating us at capitalism? They're a rising star in capitalism. This isn't about communism or capitalism. This is about fear porn. This is about propaganda. These guys, Chris Cuomo, he knows better than this too. Or maybe he was just always like a talented actor. He's not this dumb.
Is its agenda. This is what China wants. They even have a term for the effort. It's called the smokeless war, where they have this theory of how they'll destroy the West without actually taking to the battlefield.
Ooh, sounds scary. Guess what the smokeless war is? It's a fucking book written by a Chinese, like somebody that's a communist in China. It is not part of it. I looked this up. Google it. Google smokeless war, and 90% of what you come up with is going to be a video game called Smokeless War. I didn't know about it. It looks all right. It's just a guy that wrote a book in China, and like some people read it. But he's acting like that's like the policy of China. It's just a fucking book. It's not the policy of China. But a smokeless war is exactly what we do everywhere too. The irony of him saying this is like, can you believe that the Chinese government is trying to influence Americans to think that they are good? Yeah, I can. You know what I would do if I was the Chinese government? I would push back against the narrative that they're all communists and who don't let their people do anything. If I was hearing lies about that from Americans, I would probably push back too. And I wouldn't have a war. I'd have a smokeless one. I'd have a war of information. That's what I would do. It's actually a pretty good idea. And it's exactly what America does all around the world. It's fine. None of this is concerning. It's crazy that like this got millions of views. This is being passed around right-wing circles right now. And it's getting right-wingers all geared up like, oh, we're going to stop these fucking protests. Fuck the Chinese. I'm not a communist. It's not even about communism. They're just lying to you. Fuck our media forever for doing this type of shit. Fuck Ron DeSantis earlier for doing this type of shit. Can we just have one fucking day where you guys don't try and pit us against each other? There's real things we don't like about the two sides. There's real problems in this country. We have a government who an executive branch who's telling the Supreme Court no, who's using the military on their own people. And Chris Cuomo came on TV last night to say, look, I know that this seems bad, but it's the government using their military against their own people. That's a distraction. What you should really care about is that the Chinese are trying to get you to like them. And they're using the internet, and they're using videos, and they're using influencers to trick you into liking them. That's the real story. And that's why these protests are happening, because the Chinese are trying to get you to like them. That's the story here that Chris Cuomo put up.
That's what they did during the anti-Israel campus protests.
Oh,
the PSL worked hand in glove with anti-Zionist student groups and helped organize and fund the Columbia campus encampments.
Yeah, W them. Fuck the Zionists. Yeah, W. I wonder if there's any like AIPAC money here. I wonder if NewsNation, who's selling themselves as the new CNN, is completely funded by right-wingers. Spoiler alert, they are. Like the Qataris and right-wingers. That's who's funding this whole operation. That's why somebody said Fox News did a segment on this. Who said that? That's why it sounds like Fox News, because it's basically the same thing.
Now it gets
Oh, by the way,
scarier.
yeah, there we go. I do need to do my announcements. Just a reminder, even though Jen's not here, we are crowdfunded. Jen still gets paid on her days off, which she doesn't take enough of, and so we should celebrate when Jen takes days off. But all the payment apps are above. We also do super chats. I will read damn near anything you say, but don't get me canceled by Jen if you can.
Where does the PSL get its money? Enter Shanghai-based socialist billionaire Neville Singham. 2017, he sold his tech company for about $1 billion.
Shanghai-based, by the way. Just remember that he said this guy, his name is, what they say his name was, I have it right here, Neville Singham. Notorious, very Chinese name, Neville Singham.
Reports show
I think he's from England.
Same year, he started funding far-left groups like the PSL to the tune of millions. Singham is not America's friend. He has deep business ties to the CCP, but also...
No, he doesn't really. By the way. So the basis for this is a New York Times article. Singham is, he owned... I'm trying to remember what the company was. He owned a company notorious for communists and socialists. He owned a company and then sold it for billions of dollars because he's a fucking communist socialist, right? He just made billions of dollars in capitalism, but he's a socialist. And he does work with the Chinese government to do like what he would say is he's trying to bring peace. He's trying to bring solutions to bring people together that aren't violent. That would be his take. Cuomo's take is he's doing the bidding of the CCP.
Has strong ideological ties to communism, period. People who worked for him says he's an admirer of Mao, Che Guevara, Hugo Chavez, not friends of American culture. According to the New York Times, Singham has funded and developed a deep global empire of pro-China nonprofits in the media and grassroots political space, steering millions into these groups over the years.
Okay. So why is that scary? You know what I mean? Like, I said, did you not hear I said China? Yeah, we heard you. Yeah, I just saw I Show Speed. I've seen like 15 influencers over in China having a great fucking time recently. Yeah. Doesn't seem very scary to me. I never wake up and fear China. China's like number 300 on my list of people I'm afraid of. I'm more afraid of Putin. I'm more afraid of Netanyahu. I'm more afraid of Trump. I'm more afraid of our own police. There's a lot of things that make me nervous, but China's not really one of them. What are we talking about here?
Including the PSL. And guess who was associated with the PSL
Who?
and other Singham-funded groups?
Who?
Elias Rodriguez.
No.
Ring a bell? This scumbag, the 30-year-old Chicago man who murdered 2 Israeli staffers in cold blood last month.
They denied that he has anything to do with them. He went to a meeting, one of their meetings once, I think is the whole story. And they're like, yeah, like he looks like he was on like an attendance roll once. We don't really know who he is. He's not affiliated with us. It'd been like 5 years before that. Do you see how loose these conspiracy theories? And guess what else? This guy, what the fuck did he have to do with China? He doesn't like the Israelis. He doesn't like Netanyahu. What the fuck does that have to do with China? His attack had nothing to do with China. And look at this screen, like, look at this screenshot face. Yeah, dude, what are you talking about? This is so stupid. It just works. It works on people. It keeps them upset.
To make a political point.
I'm just saying, look, Cali Camp, I'm just saying, like, more afraid of our police? Is there police brutality in this country? Do police overstep their bounds? Yeah. What has China done to you? Why would I be afraid of China? I don't even, like, I'm not that worried about the police. I'm just saying, if we're going to list things, I'm not that worried about most people. I'm not worried about, like, I'm not threatened by a lot. Not because I'm tough. I'm a big coward, but there's just not a lot of threats to my life or to like my family's safety. We're fine. We're at historical historical lows for violent crime. We're doing fine. I'm not afraid of China.
Point. Remember, he just waited to be taken in.
Yeah.
That is fundamentalism. Now, is this Chinese?
Wasn't that Islamic fundamentalism? Like, you see what I mean? Like, he's just using the word. All the other things he talked about, by the way, like these protests, these aren't fundamentalism. It's not a fundamentalist belief. There's no like radical fundamentalism belief that is driving people to the streets in LA right now. They don't like ICE. That's not fundamentalism. That's just them saying like, this is fucked up.
Chinese sabotage part of the negotiations with China and the president and the administration? Probably not. And that is probably a mistake. You see, we are too focused on these fringe fights, fabricated division to drive podcast followings and media cycles.
Shut the fuck up! That's what you're doing right now. You are literally trying to get us to focus on a fringe fight that you can't even string together so you can get views, you dumb bitch.
Fringe agendas.
Fringe.
We are missing the big picture. And you know why?
Why?
Because it doesn't allow one side to have an advantage over the other. That's how stupid our politics has gotten. Look at how what is happening here is the same as the echo of what we're seeing all over the world. Look at what happened in the Middle East today.
Okay.
So Trump is pushing on Iran, right? And the risk of violence
Here comes the Qatari stuff.
in response to that is on the rise because that's what Iran does.
Oh.
The UK just issued a dire warning to its ships in the Persian Gulf that there could be a military escalation. What do you think that means they're hearing on the intelligence side? Then hours later, our State Department announced it's evacuating personnel from the Middle East.
If you're wondering what the fuck this has to do with China, I'm asking the same question. Is this the first time the entire chat has been united? The whole chat is like, fuck Chris Cuomo. We got the right and the left. Look, we did it. We did it. We unified. We got the right and the left hating Chris Cuomo. The fuck is he talking about? Here's what you really need to work. Here's what this is all about. This is all about distracting you from the fact that Israel is about to attack Iran. Okay.
This is why I keep saying.
By the way, what do you want us to do about that? Israel, don't. All right. Now what? They're just going to do it anyways. The fuck are we going to do about Israel?
We need to stop fighting with each other when there is a growing threat to kill all of us. We've been here before. And somehow, in our collective conscience, we get bored. That if something happened, well, that's it. It happened, and it can't happen again. There's no reason to deal with the lessons of the past. That is the definition of insanity. It can happen again. Terrorism is real.
What are you talking about? What can happen again? Does anybody know what he's talking about? This was, I watched it and I was baffled this morning. That's enough of Chris Cuomo. And it's Fox News. I'm already hearing Republicans repeating these talking points already. They're telling you that these grassroots movements aren't grassroots. For months, people have been coming on telling us about the people could go to sign up and protest if they want to. That's it. That's an American ideal. It's part of our Constitution. They don't protest. Instead, figure out how Israel attacking Iran is China's fault. That's what we really need to focus on. Anyways, I did want to show you that New York Times article that this is what he's citing here. Here's just some parts I found a little interesting. So talking about Singham, he's 69, which is cool. That's a cool age. He lives in Shanghai, where one outlet in his network is co-producing a YouTube show financed in part by the city's propaganda department. Two others are working with a Chinese university to spread China's voice to the world. And last month, Mr. Singham joined a Communist Party workshop about promoting the party internationally. Why is that scary? Why am I afraid of that? Mr. Singham says he does not work at the direction of the Chinese government, but the line between him and the propaganda apparatus is so blurry that he shares office space. It's not blurry. They're working together. You just explained that. It's not blurry. He's working with them to make propaganda. It's what you just told us what he was doing. There's no blurred lines there. They're working together. And his group shares staff members with a company whose goal is to educate foreigners about the miracles that China has created on the world stage. Oh no! Oh no! We might find out that China did some cool things. Oh no! He and his allies are on the front line of what the Communist Party officials call the smokeless war. Under the rule of Xi Jinping, China has expanded state media operations, teamed up with overseas outlets, and cultivated foreign influencers. The goal is to disguise propaganda as independent content. We do this. This is what America does. It's fucking crazy that this is a story in the New York Times. This is what every country does. We all do this. We all pay media outlets across the world. That's what USAID is. That's us using our money to influence other people. That's why we were doing like the Sesame Street stuff. All this shit is shit that we do too. And in America, the conservatives have decided we're not going to do that anymore. And China is going, oh, good. We're going to slide in and we're going to make all these people like us instead. And by the way, it's going to be a lot easier for China because China is going to get to go to all these countries and go, look, you may have heard some bad things about us in the past, and those may or may not be true. But the one thing we haven't done is invaded every one of your countries. The Americans, I know they were giving you money, but they also invade your countries, and they participate in regime change wars. And they get rid of your elected leaders, and they come in and they install their own leaders. So it's going to be pretty easy for China to collect on this. It'll probably be a lot less expensive. It's crazy. I even looked up the author is like, she's a good author. I read some of her other work. Her name is Maria Hifstendahl. I have no idea how to say that. But like, none of this stuff is scary. I think we're just at a place in America, like if you say China, it's just scary. The result is seemingly organic bloom of far-left groups that echo Chinese government talking points, echo one another, and are echoed in turn by the Chinese state media. If you go watch any of these influencers, what they're echoing is that China is innovative, that China gives you not free, but they have like great infrastructure. They have high-speed rails. They have great electric vehicles. They have healthcare. They're highlighting the things that they're good at. That's all they're doing. We're supposed to be afraid of that. Don't worry, says Chris Cuomo. Ignore the fact that the Israelis are doing a genocide. Ignore that, please. Ignore that the Israelis are about to invade Iran. Ignore that. Ignore that the federal government is using their own troops against their own people. All of that is just a distraction from China trying to get people to like them. It's all a distraction so that the Chinese can get you to like them. Isn't that crazy? It's so like we're just a little bit fucked in this country. I do want to show some stuff though that reminds me of China. This is a story coming from military.com about Trump's visit to Fort Bragg. I do have some clips. I don't know if we'll get to it. Trump went for the Army's 250th birthday on the 11th. Supposed to be a routine visit. Instead, what unfolded Tuesday at Fort Bragg bore little resemblance to the customary visit from a president and defense secretary. There, President Donald Trump unleashed a speech laced with partisan invective. I'll skip all that shit. He gave a big speech. As Trump viciously attacked his perceived political foes, he wiped up boos from gathered troops at California leaders, including Gavin Newsom, amid the president's controversial move to deploy the National Guard. The soldiers roared with laughter and applauded Trump's diatribe in a shocking and rare public display of troops taking part in naked political partisanship. Now, if anybody's served, raise your hand if you've served. And specifically, if you've gone to the academies or you're an officer. If you're somebody who's gone to the academies, you know that you are not supposed to participate publicly in politics in this way. You are not to appear partisan. So it's crazy that Donald Trump goes there and he makes them do partisan things, like cheer when he's talking shit about a political opponent. He's weaponizing the military. He's weaponizing their political opinions for himself so that he can get gained. It's really pretty fucking sick. I have a cousin who is I don't want to dox it. He went to West Point. He's a Black Hawk pilot. He's a big Trump supporter. I asked him about that. He's like, it was gross, dude. And everybody that I know, even like we're all Trump supporters. We all thought it was gross too. It's not who we're supposed to be. It sets a bad precedent. But Military.com reached out to Hex's office as well as the Army and the 82nd Airborne Division directly with a series of questions that ranged from the optics of the event to social media posts showing the sale of Trump campaign merchandise on the bank. He had merch. He showed up with fucking merch. What boy, you don't? The 82nd Airborne? What? I don't know what you're talking about. Internal 82nd Airborne Division communications that were obtained and reviewed by military.com reveal a tightly orchestrated effort to curate the optics of Trump's recent visit. The same thing that Cuomo was just complaining that China does, where they like force their people and they control the optics. It's what Trump's doing here. That included handpicking soldiers for the audience based on political leanings and physical appearance. The troops ultimately selected to be behind Trump and visible to cameras were almost exclusively male. One unit-level message bluntly said, "No fat soldiers." If soldiers have political views that are in opposition to the current administration and they don't want to be in the audience, then they need to speak with their leadership and get swapped out. Service officials declined to comment when asked about the extent to which troops were screened, whether soldiers displaying partisan cheers on television, a violation of long-standing Pentagon rules, would be disciplined, or if soldiers who objected to participating in the event, citing disagreements with the administration, would be disciplined or admonished in any way. Do you see how he just uses and abuses everybody? This guy doesn't give a fuck about our military. If he did, he wouldn't use them as like political pawns. If this was about celebrating the 250th birthday of the Army, he wouldn't be out there talking about Gavin Newsom. He wouldn't be out there talking about how he won the election. He wouldn't be out there talking about radical Marxist leftist lunatics. He would talk to them about them. He might tell stories about the Army. He might talk about battles that they had won. He might talk about how hard it was to get to where they are. He might talk about their sacrifice. And he did talk about those things too. But he has to make everything political. And I thought that was pretty gross. I just thought it was interesting. On the same day that Republicans are out there saying everything is staged, they're staging events. On the same day that the ad comes out that they're staging this military event, that they're going to pay people to come out and cheer for the president and cheer for his dumbass parade. By the way, that is a dumbass parade. Are there Republicans in here that are happy about that parade? Out of curiosity. Are you guys pumped about that parade? I don't like parades in general. I certainly don't like my taxpayer money paying for a parade, even though they usually do. Brianna said, "What do you call it when a pilot crew is all women?" I don't know if I can say that. A clit pit. Happens to also be hijack proof since men can't find it. It's not nice. As a reminder, we are crowdfunded. Jen's gonna beat my ass. We are crowdfunded. So up in the top left corner, you'll see the gift goal. All the payment apps are above: Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, TikTok gifts. I don't know how to add up the TikTok gifts, but all that stuff's available, and I will read anything that you write. Let me update this. I'd rather pay for a parade than a transgender plate. Yeah, that's not shocking that the Republican, I asked you if you like the parade and you immediately started talking about trans people. Yeah, yeah. Just immediately. You guys are so fucking broken. Do you like paying for the parade? I hate trans people. Yeah, we know. We know. You've told us before. We know you're not a fan. You'll get over it. All funds go to Act Blue. That's right. All funds go directly to China. Everything we raise goes directly to China. Let's see. This is another one of those reasons. This is why people protest. I'm trying to get the whole story. It's hard to get the whole story. This is from California yesterday. From what I can gather from the story, this car right here, looks like a Mercedes to me. This white Mercedes, from the stories I'm reading, the driver of the Mercedes had assaulted a police officer at one of the riots. I think they said, in fact, it's in community notes here. He had assaulted officers and then I swear there was something else that. Yeah. So there's this was according to. I want to say U.S. Attorney and Bill Milligan, who received information from DHS. So that's DHS's story. I don't have confirmation on that, so let's just call it what it is, unconfirmed story. But let's go ahead, and even if we assume that the driver of this car is somebody who assaulted police officers, there's 3 other people in this car. So they chase this person down in unmarked cars. Car gets rammed, gets stuck. And now they're using some sort of gas to get the driver and the suspects out of the car. Or suspect, he's the only one. Suspect gets out of the car. You can see up here opening the door. All right, now we've got the suspect under arrest, it looks like here. And fast forward. Oh, they didn't have this part. Yeah, and then they just drive away. So LAPD is investigating this as a hit and run. But I've got a question. There were kids in the car? Okay. I don't care what he did. You don't get to ram the car, arrest the person, and then just take off, leaving people in the car. I didn't know they were kids. How the fuck is that okay? That looks like, you know those like videos sometimes you'll come across that look like the cartels just coming and like hijacking somebody, taking them and leaving them. That's what that looked. They just left the car. There's no incident report, no arrests, nobody talked, nobody checked on the people to make sure they were all okay. They just take the driver of the car and they leave. Why are we allowed? Why would we be okay with that as like American citizens? Yeah, we fucking love that, dude. We love that. Don't break the law. Yeah, if I break the law, that doesn't happen to me. None of that happens. That doesn't happen to you if you break the law. I don't know why you guys are such bootlickers for the police all of a sudden. Yeah, it's totally justified. Everything police do is okay. It's just always fine. There's kids in the car, you're shooting tear gas into the car. Yeah, I get it. That guy assaulted a police officer. Follow him. He's got to get out of the car sometime. Stop his car. Get him out. Arrest him. Make sure everybody's okay. If he assaulted a police officer, fine. Arrest him. Why do you have to put other people in danger to arrest somebody? It's the worship of violence by you folks. I'm telling you, there's that video that's going around. There's that guy that's like, they ask him if he's supporting the protests in LA, and he's like, no, this is the greatest campaign ad ever written for Republicans. No, the fuck it's not. No, the fuck it's not. That used to be Trump's #1 issue. He's fallen like he's like in the high 30s now. Regular people that aren't political psychos, they don't see that video and think, oh, this is good. Yeah, that's a good thing. That on every level, the optics of that are horrendous. Even if that man was an even more violent criminal, whatever crime you want to say that person committed, I don't care what the crime is. Why are you ramming a car and then leaving them? As somebody, your job is to work for the people. Those other people in the car did not assault you. Why are you doing a hit and run? What are the identities of those people? How do we even know that all of those people in the car are officers? How do we know who they are? We don't have their identities. We can't see their face. There's no report. This is the America we're in now. And this is the America that you guys are celebrating. I don't care. Like, you guys have got to get it together. I don't care if we disagree on, like, should people be deported or not, or how they should be deported or not. What you're celebrating right now is police having the ability to be masked, show up, ram your car, take your friend, and leave you. Shoot tear gas into your car. What if you just have a dipshit friend who commits a crime? What if you didn't know? I mean, it's where are you guys politically now? Is it just whatever Trump does is good? I didn't even blame Trump, you dumb shit. Get rid of the man, the myth, the legend, or whatever. He's got to go. I'm so sick of your dumbass. You commented like 85 fucking times on my videos yesterday. You say the same shit every day. I'm tired of you. You got to go. If you don't like me, don't be here every day, bud. Nobody in my life gives me as much attention as you do. It's wild. People in my life are starting to get jealous. They're starting to think we have a thing because everywhere I go online, you're showing up. All right. This is wild. Somebody said earlier that they were more afraid of raw milk than the Chinese. This is Dr. Joey Munoz. I follow him on Instagram. I don't really know much about him. I haven't seen his stuff in a while, but I'm guessing since he talked about something kind of political, he showed up. I want to show you something that happened in the White House yesterday, a few days ago.
I want to do a shot of raw milk to toast this with me. All right. One of the things I know you're thinking about a lot is this huge amount of glyphosate. So we've got glyphosate-free honey and raw milk, and let's go.
You guys order some raw milk shooters?
Secretary Kennedy, cheers.
Cheers.
I just want to point out the blatant hypocrisy of this video. And before any of you guys get your panties in a bunch and start calling me random insults in the comments, just hear me out. You've got Paul Saladino and RFK Jr. taking raw milk shots in the White House. And in the background, they have perfectly placed lineage provision products, which if you didn't know...
We're shooting infomercials now in the White House. RFK is doing infomercials for his friends in the White House now. Now, I do want to say some people are going to mention maybe Dr. Joey Munoz is a hypocrite because he also has supplements, but this is his house. I have no problem with people grifting in their own house. I've got a big fucking problem with RFK and whoever this dipshit is drinking raw milk, which the science not beneficial. In fact, does more harm than good while you're pumping your product line. You're legitimately like, we paid for all that space. We paid for this bullshit, like gold, probably spray painted gold monstrosity. And RFK Jr., after he fires the whole CDC vaccine team, then he goes and he runs an infomercial for his friend where they take raw milk. They promote pseudoscience while promoting pseudoscientific nutrition supplements. It's a fucking joke. Dude, what the remember Idiocracy? And everyone's like, this is Idiocracy. This is Idiocracy. What the fuck are we doing? We're just hawking. Trump goes and speaks to the military and brings a merch table with him. Do any of these people do any government work without making some money for themselves on the side? Do any of them? You guys this is fucking QVC. Our government's just QVC. This executive order brought to you by... Depends. Does our president shit his pants? Well, it depends.
Is Paul Saladino's brand. Now hear me out. I am all for making America healthier. In theory, it's a great cause. But here's where it gets ridiculous. Their whole narrative is that science is corrupt, food companies are corrupt, the government is corrupt, and that's why everyone's fat and sick, because it's all about the money. But somehow nobody's allowed to point out that they have massive financial incentives as well. And this video is a perfect example of that. Paul literally staged his products inside of the White House. It does not get any more obvious than that. You want to call out big food for manipulating people and selling processed foods? Cool. But how is this any different? Guys, please don't let the anti-establishment branding of many of these Maha influencers fool you. They're using a playbook that's as old as time. Create fear, build distrust, offer a solution, and profit. I wish it was...
Say that the vaccines are dangerous, create fear, offer a new solution, supplements, colloidal silver, what's that other shit? The testosterone cream, supplements. There's your solution. Look, Big Pharma, bad. Oh, yeah. Big Pharma's going to get you. Oh, no. I have the solution. Oh, yay. You just buy it from me. Hooray. Just marketing. These guys are just doing fucking infomercials on pseudoscience. That's the guy that's in charge of, like, our health. That's the guy. That's the guy that's supposed to, help us determine what vaccines are good. Like, he's supposed to work with the FDA. He's supposed to keep us safe, and he's just doing pseudoscience infomercials using the White House.
It's just about making our country healthier, but in many ways, it's not. It's just about building influence and selling you products while pretending that they're the only ones who care about you.
Got the people talking about Biden's cancer in here. Have you guys ever engaged? Do you know how to engage in a discussion? Which reminds me, anybody's welcome to come up here and engage in this discussion anytime. If you are tired of being a little bitch in the comments, you're welcome to come up. Travel Casey there. You just message her on Discord. She'll bring in. You can talk live. They'll hear your voice and everything. You'll really enjoy it. Jumar asks for permission to enter the clit pit. I don't know. I don't think I'm the gatekeeper there, Jumar. Thank you though. All right, let's moving on. I actually want to finish from yesterday. Yesterday we talked about Art Laffer. And how Art Laffer is the only person who is like the only professional who is saying that Donald Trump's new tax policy and the big beautiful bill from the Republicans is actually going to not add to the deficit. And if you remember, we ended yesterday with Art Laffer being laughed at, but like multiple members of Congress, including Republicans. Most Republicans know Art Laffer as a joke. And I just wanted to show you why Art Laffer is a joke. So I wanted to finish that up before we get on to the next thing. So Kansas, Art Laffer went into Kansas. He was brought in by Governor. Shit, what was Governor's name? Do I have it here? I think I have it. He had a weird name. I can't remember his name. In 2003. And basically they said, we believe in the Laffer curve. Go ahead, use your Laffer curve and your supply side economics, and you'll run our budget. Here's a fact. From fiscal year 13 to 14, the total revenue after he took over dropped $687.9 million. In the Great Recession from 09 to 010, it only dropped a little more than half of that. The biggest recession that we had in a while, that's the housing collapse, dropped their revenue $396 million. He doubled that with the Laffer curve policy. And remember, the problem with the Laffer curve is that the Laffer curve is like, as taxes go down, revenues go up. But revenues, it doesn't matter if revenues go up if revenues aren't equally distributed, if revenues aren't distributed across the entire economy. That's the whole problem with the Laffer curve, is basically what it is it's just only focusing on revenue, which only benefits those who make their money from revenue. 90% of the people in here, oh, it's methylene blue, thank you. No, that can't be right. Is that right? 90% of the people in here don't get their money through revenue, right? It's not tied directly to revenue. You have a wage, you have a salary, and it gets paid. And usually whatever's left goes to the investors or the CEO or the owners. That's the problem with the Laffer curve. It's not measuring like a healthy economy. It's only reporting on revenue. So if revenue goes up, that doesn't mean necessarily like tax revenue goes up. Keep going back there. It was Trump saying he looked like he was 45. He did get he got the Medal of Freedom. Where is it? The fuck? Where is it? Here it is.
Believe it or
here's
not.
Trump bragging about Art Laffer running his fiscal policy in his first administration.
Suggesting a lot of Democrats like it, believe it or not, the payroll tax cut. And Art Laffer, who's tremendous, he's a tremendous, in fact, he recently got the Presidential Medal of Freedom, economist. He was with Ronald Reagan, and he looks like he's 25 years old, but I think you might be a little bit older than that. He looks so...
Brownback, that's right, thank you. It was Governor Brownback in Kansas.
Great. But Art Laffer said the single best thing you can do is the payroll tax cut. And I would just about agree with that, and I'd like to see that. I'm not sure that we're going to get that, but I think that's something that could be done. It's simple. It's really good for both the company that employs these people and for the people that are employed. So we're going to see whether that happens or not. The payroll, I put it out there. This
is the problem I have with everything about the right and their economic policies. You guys have been trying your economic policies for almost 50 years now, and they do not work. Trickle-down economics doesn't work. The supply side, the Laffer curve shit, none of it works. All it does is give rich people more money. We'll show you, like, if I show you a wealth disparity chart here from 1982. We use this quite often. I should really save it. Disparity by year. I think it's this one. Pull that up. This is what has happened as we've done supply side economics. This is the share of the aggregate income. Oh, geez. Sorry, got a TikTok notice there again. This is the share of aggregate income. Before trickle-down economics, the middle class had 62% of the income. Lower income people had 10%, and the upper income had 29%. It is now completely reversed. Now, middle income has 43%, upper income has 48%, and lower income has dropped a little bit. Do you see this massive? All this money means that instead of this money being spread out amongst the masses, it's consolidated into the few. This is the result of trickle-down economics. It does not work. 1970, you can look here, like the disparity. The poorest among us made $20,000 a year. Middle class $58,000. Top income earners $126,000. Look at the gap difference now. This is from 2018. This is even bigger now because we had a massive wealth transfer during COVID. This shit doesn't work. And the crazy thing about you guys continuing to listen to other Republicans about economics is you're listening to people who have failed miserably for 50 straight years. And they're continuing to double down on it, saying eventually it will work. Why? Because you guys, they can't tell you that we have to raise taxes because you guys will freak out. All of you will just freak out if they tell you we need to raise taxes. And they're not willing to lose power. They're not willing to do the things that are important to do to get us out of this hole. So they just keep telling you, don't worry, this time when we lower taxes, it'll fix it. Then we'll pay down the debt. And every time we lower taxes, the debt goes up. 54% of the debt comes from Trump tax cuts and Bush tax cuts. More than half of all of our debt comes from 2 tax cuts. And we're still going to do it. You're still gonna support it. Yeah, Tony Ravioli's there. Yeah, trickle down to you. Exactly. All right, let's get to the protest. There was one other video. Let me see if I had one more that I wanted to grab. Oh, Jen is here. Oh, some of you sent some stuff to Jen. Amanda said, "What is the starting time on BS?" YouTube fake. What is the starting time on BS? What am I missing there? I'm not sure what BS is. Danielle says, "What do you call 2 lesbians in a closet?" It's a liquor cabinet. And Jen says, "There are 10 ostriches in a field. How many ostriches are left when 4 fly away?" 10. You have 10. Ostriches can't fly, dumbass. I didn't catch it. In fact, I was the dumbass. That was me at that time too. All right, let me see real quick if I can find this one other video. I don't know why I didn't add it to the list. All right, guess I don't have it. Okay, let's go to the LA riots. I want to show you this. A lot of people have said that there's a. In fact, I talked to Tex yesterday, and he was talking about like how the state of California has been in agreement with this. There's a sheriff. I don't remember. He's the sheriff from like Riverside and Palm Springs. He's running for governor, and Fox News keeps bringing him on as if he's the expert. They're like, "How are things on the ground, Sheriff?" He's like, "Oh, everything's fucking terrible." He's not even he's not on the ground. He's not even there. He's in a totally different county. This is actually the sheriff, and here's what he has to say yesterday about the clarity between himself and the federal government and what federal troops are actually going to do.
Is still not clear to us, the Marines or the National Guard, other than they're a support entity.
Guys, for the love of God, calm the fuck down. There are riots, there are protests. If I'm talking about the police being involved, we're talking about the riot part. Can we just chill for a second? Does somebody want to explain to me why it's such a big fucking deal if I say riot? I don't get it. Like, why are we this upset about that I'm saying riot? There's protests and there's riots. There's 2 different things. If I'm talking about the protests, I'm talking about the protests. The stuff where violence is happening is where the National Guard is supposed to go. And from what I see, when I see the protests, I'm not seeing the National Guard. Optics are not that important. Honesty is far more important than optics. I'm talking about the people who are committing crime. Those are the rioters. If I'm showing you protests, it's the protest. Like, this doesn't do us any good to sit here and pretend like there aren't dipshits out there in LA doing dipshit things. Yeah, I think Trump escalated it. Yeah, I think bringing in the National Guard escalated it. I don't think that but I don't think that just because something gets escalated, though, that means that the people on the left or the people, frankly, I don't think most of the people being violent are like on the left. I don't even really think they're political. I think they're just angry. I think they just hate the police. And I don't, in some instances, I don't besmirch them for not liking the police. If you lived in LA your whole life, specifically if you're from like a Hispanic community, there's a good chance you don't like the police. And it's probably justified for you to not like the police. But can we just not tone police like all day today? Can I just talk about the riot parts here? Because that's what I'm trying to talk about.
Protect federal employees and facilities, but the agents they're protecting do have certainly the right to be able to arrest lawbreakers.
It's kind of stunning to hear the police chief say that it's unclear what the role is of the National Guard and of the Marines. I mean, if someone's watching, I think they would think if anyone should know, it should be you. Why do you think you don't know what they are doing and what they are supposed to be doing?
This is unprecedented. I feel comfortable in knowing what their stated purpose is, their mission, as I said, to protect federal employees and facilities. But as far as the scope of their responsibilities or their abilities relative to arrest or dealing in a municipal environment, that's not something that they do every day, certainly. What their training is, we're not sure of that, either on the Army or the Marines, as it relates to crowd management, crowd control in an urban environment. So a lot of questions that we'll still be asking, but...
Does that sound like somebody who's communicating and has a clear idea of what the federal troops are doing there? Remember, that was what Trump was saying. Like, I'm going to send in the National Guard because the governor doesn't know what he's doing. I heard Pam Bondi, I heard Pete Hegseth yesterday talk about, like, we care about law enforcement, so we're there to support law enforcement. How come law enforcement in LA doesn't seem to know what the troops are doing there? Why do you guys think it is that, like, all the leaders on the Republican side keep saying it's all about the police? They're not communicating with the police. It feels a lot like that they're not there for the police. In fact, I think that, and this is the conspiracy theory, I legitimately think what Trump is doing right now is that he's going to go through every time there's a protest, he's going to wait until he sees anything at all that he can justify to you folks, and he's going to send in the National Guard. And I do honestly believe, because I do think Donald Trump is a psycho, and I do think that he's an egomaniac. I don't know if it's a plan, but I know, as I think as well as any of you Republicans know, that it's not going to take much for Donald Trump to declare martial law. And that he will escalate and he will push buttons and he will push buttons and he will push buttons. And fair enough, like, if you're going to push buttons and things get out of control and then you have to protect citizens, yeah, but whose fault is that? And when are you guys going to take some accountability on your side? There would be no violence. There was no violence until we said we were calling in the National Guard. And even the little bit of violence that there was after that, we didn't need the National Guard. The National Guard has done nothing to solve any of the violence. Trump and Pam Bondi yesterday both were interviewed, and both of them said, like, oh, we got it under control. Bitch, you didn't do anything. The National Guard showed up, and they stood around. They didn't stop any violence. Any amount of arrests, any amount of stopping crime, any amount of stopping violence, that has been done by local police. The National Guard has done nothing. All they have done is escalate the situation. And I'm frankly, like, I'm a little bit tired today. I feel a little bit off today because I don't understand why we allow such dipshits to control how we feel and to control how we act and to divide us so completely. I don't think any of you think that you shouldn't be able to protest. There might be a few of you. But if you can't look at this honestly, like objectively, 20,000-foot view, there were people that were trying to prevent ICE from doing their job. Were they attacking ICE? No. In fact, we've seen ICE raid after ICE raid after ICE raid all over this country. And the most that has happened to them is they have been inconvenienced. We have not had violence directed towards ICE agents. People have said shit online about them. People say shit online. People say shit in our chat every day. People say shit. That's the extent of how bad things are. And that's how big of pussies we have become, specifically you on the right. You guys have become everything that you claimed you're against. You love cancel culture, you love big government, and you love compelled or forced speech, or you love using the government to silence speech. You have become everything that you 5 years ago would be embarrassed to know that you are today. When you put up when you call yourself a patriot, when you celebrate the 4th of July, when you celebrate Veterans Day, whatever days that make you proud to be an American, you are the opposite of that now. You've become somebody who sits on the sideline and cheers our federal government going after who you perceive as your enemy because we don't vote like you. And you're cheerleading it. Yeah, dude, fuck them. Fuck them all. You better listen to Donald Trump or else. It's like you're the gang of people that follow around a bully, and you're cheerleading a bully. And you're grown ass fucking adults too. I think that maybe is the most sad part about all of this, is that these are real protests. People are really fucking upset about this. People are worried. People who have not had reason to worry in this country for a long time. I have a neighbor who is I think her parents are from Vietnam, I think. Maybe Korea. I can't remember. But she was adopted. And because the adoption happened like 30 years ago, she doesn't have access to the paperwork. And her mom, who does, that adopted her, has totally abandoned her because she's not willing to be religious. And so she doesn't have documentation. And like anybody who doesn't look white in this country, now she lives in fear. And that's legitimate fear. There have been legitimate instances of people who just didn't have the proper documentation when they were stopped by ICE, who were arrested and detained, put into a cell. That's a legitimate fear for people in America right now. And that fear is unwarranted. It didn't need to happen. The only reason people have that fear, and they have that fear now, and they didn't have it before, is not because of what you guys think. You think it's because people hate Trump. No, it's because he's a fucking psycho. And if he doesn't get his way, he will stop at nothing to get his way. So he's doing these raids, which are deeply unpopular with America. Something that I'm polling at like 34% approval rating. Deeply unpopular. And the people whose job it is to hold the government accountable are taking to the streets, and almost all of them are marching peacefully. Like 99% of them are doing nothing wrong. And Trump looks at the 1% that just getting in the way of ICE doing their job and saying mean things to them. And he's like, oh, they're mildly inconvenienced by protesters. I better send in the fucking military. And then you guys celebrate it. Meanwhile, then they go on camera and they're like, "Oh, everybody in Los Angeles is so grateful. The police." Trump said the police are so grateful. They're telling me, "Thank you, sir. Thank you for the help." They're not helping. Here's the sheriff telling you, "Yeah, they're not. I don't know what they're doing. They're not working with us. They're not doing anything."
Our role is very clear to us: is to keep the peace and to allow people who are protesting peacefully to do so.
Is there a clear line of communication between the LAPD and the Pentagon about this?
Not with the Pentagon, but with there's a general who's been assigned here, General Sherman. We have had our folks in conversations that he's been involved in calls. I still want to be able to clarify things further and be able to get a greater comfort level as to what their roles and responsibilities are, and if there is an evolution of that, what that might look like.
Okay, so you're asking for more clarity basically right now.
Exactly, yes.
And I think this is that top-down approach from Trump. Like, Trump's just like doing whatever he wants, and everybody lets him do whatever he wants. And so there's just confusion. There's hysteria. Nobody ever feels comfortable when Donald Trump is president. You guys don't either. You wake up every day to some new shit. Every fucking day. And even for governors like Ron DeSantis, who I don't like, and I don't think he's a good governor. I think he's a dipshit. I think that he has, even though he's not that small, he seems to have like a Napoleon complex. they're preempting now these protests and saying, oh, if somebody's attacking you, you can just run them over, which again is true. But when you say that, that puts it into people's mind that anytime people come around their car, they're being attacked. And so we're probably going to see some violence, and we're going to get divided even more, because what we're going to see is we're going to see people blocking the street, and we're going to see somebody running them over, and you're going to say, oh, well, they had the right to do that. They're right. That person's right to go on this street was more important than their right to protest, so they get to die. And then we're gonna get more divided on that, because you guys won't be willing to say, that was pretty fucked up. We shouldn't have done that. That shouldn't have happened. You'll be like, oh, well, the law says. And that's where we're at right now with all of you Republicans. You guys are looking for like loopholes in the law for justification to do something that has never been done, at least not on this level, with so little actual problem. The protests in LA, like, nobody's getting hurt. There was nobody getting hurt. Then the National Guard comes in. Now there's a few people who have been hurt. Largely, LA is fine. And you have the president of the United States and everybody in lockstep with him going, LA is burning. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's fucking massive. Most people in LA don't even know that these protests are happening. They don't even see them. They don't come across them. LA is massive. They're doing fine. People like living in LA. This is just like fear porn for you Republicans. You're in here like criticizing California, criticizing LA. You act like LA is like is your sworn enemy because they vote differently. That's it. It's ever since Trump has been elected, LA had a fire and Trump politicized it. Now you have protests and Trump politicized it. How come when there's protests or there's fires or there's natural disasters, like, is it, I think it's West Virginia right now that's like, no, it's Missouri. They're still cleaning up after a tornado. Is Trump telling their governor that he's incompetent? Is he picking fights with them? Did he pick fights with Florida, North Carolina? No, it's only a problem if it's like a Democrat-run state. And then the fact that something bad happens is the incompetence of the Democrats. And you guys go with it every fucking time. It's just divide with this motherfucker. And I don't know how to like, even me as like somebody who would like to talk politics, I don't even really know how to cover it. Because then it's like, oh, all he ever talks about is Trump. Yeah, because every fucking day he does something crazy and we have to talk about Trump. We can't even get to the issues that actually affect us. We never talk about healthcare. We never talk about taxes. We never talk about education. We never talk about environmental issues. We never talk about the ability for American families to have a bright future. We never get to talk about that because every day Trump does some extrajudicial thing to try and override the Constitution, and we have to talk about it because we're going to have 4 years of a constitutional crisis. Do you guys see that at all? Name one thing Trump has done so far that is going to benefit you. Somebody said they wanted to debate me earlier. See where it says want to debate on the screen? There's a username there, Travel Casey. Just message her on Discord. You're welcome to come up and debate. But I want that answer. I would love an answer from you guys. What has he done for any of you? What has he done that has made our country better? He hasn't completed a single trade deal yet. The tax bill's not pushed through, and when it does get pushed through, it's going to explode our deficit. He's deporting immigrants, but is that helping you? You might say border crossings are down. I want to know how that's helping you. You're just saying things that like you agree with and you think it helps you. Nothing this administration is doing is for you or for me. It's all for them. They're all getting fucking rich. They're shooting infomercials using the White House. They're all getting fucking rich off of you. And they're just telling you that, oh, these things are really important to you. Someone explain it to me. Someone come up and explain how the border, how less people at the border has made your life better, please. That's what politics does. It gets you to care about shit that doesn't matter to you fucking at all. Like not even one little fucking bit. And it's all we get to talk about. I can't wait. Like the viewers will die. Well, like our show will get much smaller when Trump finally leaves. But I can't wait to actually talk about like real issues. I'm very excited to talk about real issues. But right now, unfortunately, we have a fascist who's trying to take over the country. And so we've got to talk about that. Here is Pete Hegseth yesterday in front of Congress, and he's talking to
a couple of lines of question.
Tammy Baldwin here. And here's what I want to point out about Pete Hegseth. Just every throughout this is a 6-minute video. Every time he's asked a question, is this the right one? I want you to tell me, did he answer? Did he give you an answer? Did he answer the question that he was asked? And I think that this does happen on both sides, but this is the Secretary of Defense. And all he does is hyper-partisan bullshit. He doesn't answer questions. He's here to present his budget. And guess what he didn't show up with? A fucking budget. His job is to have a budget. No budget. Where was he the night before? He was at a Dodgers game. Where was he before that? He was at a military event with Trump. Where was he? Like, speaking engagements all over the country. Can't get the fucking budget done. And will any of you care, Republicans? Will any of you care that our military won't provide Congress a budget? Will any of you care about that? Absolutely not. Will you care that Pete Hegseth doesn't answer any of these questions? No, because you guys have now been conditioned that this is the bad guy. The Democrats are bad. And so if you ask a Democrat a question, or a Democrat asks you a question, your job is to not answer the question. In fact, it's celebrated. If you answer the question, Republicans get mad at you. But if you dodge the question and try and play whataboutism or try and be like, oh, but you're a hypocrite, then Republicans love it. Then they fucking love it. But we have a Secretary of Defense who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, not providing a budget, sitting in front of Congress. They're begging him to explain why there's no fucking budget, and he can't answer the question. And you guys still love him. Because it's not about effectiveness. It's about him being a tough guy on camera and him talking shit. Your entire party is just shit talk. You don't do anything. There's never been such a pitiful, lazy bunch of grifters running our government ever. They do absolutely fucking nothing. And they don't answer questions, which is great. So we don't even get transparency. We're not doing anything. Okay, well, could you show us what you are doing? No. And you guys are like, fuck yeah, that showed those Dems. They're not showing you, dipshits. They're not showing you. You're just like, I trust the government. The government is very good. I trust this government. Are they going to give you any evidence? Are they going to show you what they're doing? No, they're not. Do you care? I do not care because I just cared about winning. That's it. I care about winning, and I care about looking cool in front of a camera. But I don't give a fuck what happens to our country. The difference between the right and the left right now is, and previously, we give a fuck. We give a fuck. 1 or 2 fucks, maybe. Sometimes 3. You guys don't give any fucks about anything that affects you at all. You just want Donald Trump to be in power because you think like somehow that makes you in power. I don't know. Like it's almost, I guess it's like a sports game. Like shout out to the Pacers, by the way, from last night. Like you're just a Pacers fan. Like does it affect you when the Pacers win or lose? No, but you're a fan and you're ride or die. That's how you guys treat politics now. It's just ride or die like you're fans.
Just specifically, Mr. Secretary, what is the authority that the administration is using to deploy active duty Marines to California neighborhoods? What authority?
Senator, the president has constitutional authority.
I am not the Secretary of Defense. I know it's 10 USC, 12406? Is that what it is? 10 USC. Yeah, 12406. Yeah. He doesn't know. Watch. She asked for what authority they're using. He should know this. This is like a base level, like, do you understand type of question. He should know this answer. And also he should answer. And if he doesn't know, he should say, I don't know. Not Pete Hegseth. He is a trained media man. So he's just going to take a really fucking long time to not answer it.
What authority?
Senator, the president has constitutional authority in order to support.
Cite the provision of the Constitution.
I'd have to pull up the specific provision, but our Office of General Counsel, alongside our leadership, has reviewed and ensured in the order that we.
In other words, I don't know, but my lawyer said it was okay. It's your SecDef right there. I don't know. Someone else told me it was fine, so it's fine.
Set out.
Not only does he say it's fine, by the way, now knowing that he doesn't know, he has no clue. Watch his confidence. Like he acts like he's like, I know for sure. I don't know what the authority is. I can't cite it. I can't even read it to you. But I'm 100% sure that we have the right.
That it's completely constitutional for the president to
Completely.
use federal troops to defend federal law enforcement.
Look, I'd like to know the specific constitutional statutory authority. The president made it clear that he relied on Section 12406 of Title 10 with regard to the National Guard troops. I need to know the authority that he is relying upon in terms of active duty Marines being deployed to California neighborhoods.
Senator,
Okay,
you'll-
so now, not the National Guard. Now we're asking Marines, and now Hegseth really should know. Now he really should know, because at least there's this level with the National Guard that like every state, the governor runs the National Guard. I could give him a little leeway there. He should know, but there's a little leeway. Now we're talking about Marines, though. Now we need to know where you're getting that authority.
follow up
plenty
with
of-
me.
Yes, Senator, but there's
Thank
plenty
you.
of precedent of active duty troops being used to support law enforcement. Historical precedent.
What historical precedent? What historical precedent have we used, could we point to, where active duty Marines have been called in to stand there while ICE deports people? See, he doesn't know. He's just a TV star. He's just a pretty face. It's what you get when you don't hire competence. This guy ran 2 nonprofits. He ran them into the ground. He didn't know how to run nonprofit. He's a drunk. He's a serial liar. And he has no fucking clue what he's talking about in front of Congress. And this is the leader of our military. All he knows is that he hates Muslims and he hates anything that he thinks is woke. But as far as like doing your job and understanding the authority that you've been granted, no clue.
I'm not disputing that. I am just asking you to cite the authority under which the active duty Marines are being deployed to California.
It's in the order, ma'am,
neighborhoods.
but we'll make sure we get it to you as well.
Thank you. I want to dovetail on a couple of other comments also with regard.
Thanks, Charles. Said $1 for train 25 for you, not gold, because you deserve more. Thank you very much. Sarah said, sharing some of my casino winnings. Congratulations, Sarah. And just a reminder, I'll update this, but we do have that gift goal every single day. We rely on that. We're crowdfunded in order to keep going. And Jen's not here to yell at you, so if we can knock out that gift goal by the end, I'll probably stay a little later today anyways. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, and Super Chats.
To the lack of specific detail in the budget request for the Department of Defense. I take great pride in Wisconsin's contributions to our national defense, and that includes many Wisconsinites who are hard at work building the Constellation-class frigate. There is no mention of frigate procurement, just like Senator Collins noted that there's no mention of destroyer procurement in the budget materials that you provided to this committee. My state makes the frigate. I'd also note that there's no mention.
I had to look this up, but frigate are like smaller, like warships. I don't know exactly how big they are. And she's Tammy Baldwin. Is she Wisconsin? Where's Tammy Baldwin? Is she whatever state she's in? Like they make the frigates.
Of the destroyers, as I said. So really, we are looking at a very incomplete budget request when we are just 4 months out from the beginning of the next fiscal year. Mr. Secretary, this committee takes...
By the way, that budget was due like 3 weeks ago. He's 3 weeks like he doesn't even have there's no requests. They have deals for procurement. There's no budget. Congress has to authorize the budget. That's their job. He was supposed to give them a budget 3 weeks ago and then show up and discuss the budget. We don't have a fucking budget. No budget. This is total and complete incompetence. Just moron after moron is running our country right now. This is like the fourth person from this administration that came in without a fucking budget. Congress and Republicans in Congress just quiet. No, this is normal. Nobody's even submitting budgets. We're the most transparent administration in history. They're not showing you a goddamn thing. Not one goddamn thing. They are hiding everything from you. But it's Daddy Trump, though. But we love Daddy Trump. We trust everything that Trump does. We're just bootlickers. We don't care if our government doesn't show us where the money's going. Where the fuck were you guys 2 months ago when we were talking about Doge and you're like, our government has been non-transparent for too long, and finally Doge is giving us transparency. And then Doge gave you no fucking transparency. None. They just like copy and pasted from a website, and none of those cuts got pushed through anyways. And now we're a couple months later and they're not even submitting budgets. Do you understand how fucking dumb this is? Do we understand how incompetent this is? How the fuck are we supposed to run a country if every department head's like, we're not going to give you a budget. We're just going to spend money. There is no transparency here. You guys are so duped by fucking buzzwords. We love freedom. Okay. And then they could just cuff you to a chair and lock you in a room. And they're like, this is freedom. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess this is freedom. Since Trump locked me in a room, but God forbid you guys have to wear a mask to protect yourselves against COVID. Oh, my Lord. Suddenly the government, this tyrannical government, they're doing nothing for you. They're arresting American citizens in the streets. They're turning the military against us, and they're not telling you where any money is going. And you're like, this is exactly what I voted for. Probably. I think the reality is what you voted for is sucking Donald Trump's dick. Why else would none of you ever come up to discuss any of this? Why do you think you guys don't have an argument for this? Why do you think that when I ask these questions, all you do in the chat is whataboutism? Where's the fucking budget, folks? Where's the fucking transparency, folks?
The appropriations process seriously. I take the hard work of Wisconsin's shipbuilders seriously, and I'd like your commitment to provide this material to the committee expeditiously so we can do our work.
Senator, we'll make sure you get all the information, but what I would say is this is a historic investment in shipbuilding, both the defense industrial base and ships.
You don't have a budget! Dude, like, they just lie right there. Where's your budget? We don't have a budget. It's a historical investment. What investment? What are you talking about? She just asked you for the budget. You don't have a budget. You're just going to say that? It's historic. Okay. What is historic? Show us what's historic. Well, I said it. It's because you guys are too fucking dumb. Purposely. The thing is you guys are smart enough. I can see you guys can spell. You can use the internet. You could write sentences. Look it up. Stop letting dipshits just lie to you every fucking day. That's a crazy answer. That is not normal. This is not politics is normal. They just asked him for a budget. There is no budget. And he's like, it's a historic investment. What? How much is it, Pete? I don't know. I don't have a budget. So how do you know it's historic then, Pete? It's the dumbest fucking administration. Can you guys please be better? You deserve better than having dipshits representing you.
In Wisconsin, and particularly related to the frigate, it's been a program with a lot of problems and a lot of delays and a lot of modifications that have led to serious
Navy
challenges.
has called for many modifications to the plan.
As I'm not saying it's all the fault of the shipyard. There are many ways in which modifications were made that changed an existing design so extensively that it led to a ship that was not even capable of the original mission it was supposed to execute. So our job is to make tough choices on some platforms.
Yeah, we would receive those tough choices in a fucking budget. Stop telling us about what you're doing and show us, please. That's good enough for Republicans. Well, if Pete says it, it's fine. Could you show us, please? At some point, could you let us know, like, what you're doing, what you're spending? This guy is so fucking full of shit. Yeah, well, the thing is that sometimes there's problems. This is a breakdown of what he said. Sometimes there's problems, and sometimes people are ahead of schedule, and so we have to make tough decisions. Great. What tough decisions are you making? I'll tell you later. Okay.
That may not be funded the way they were in the past because we have to make some of those tough choices.
Well, we don't have any of the detail right now
Yeah.
of what your plans are
What are
with
you talking
regard to
about?
the frigate or the destroyer. And we need that information to do our jobs. Can you get it to me?
We
and the
have that
committee
information, Senator.
expeditiously?
We have worked in real time in 4 months to reverse a lot.
This bitch is just like, you ever go to like a corporate event? This guy has all the corporate speak. We have it in real time. It's real time, you dumb bitch. It's real fucking time right now, and you don't have it. What are you talking about? We have that in real time. No, you don't. You don't have a budget, dude. She just asked you for the budget again. It's like, we do have it. Where is it then? You forgot it? You left it at home? Could you have your trad wife take a picture of it and send it? You have a scanner? Is there some way she could email it to you, please? Could we get it? Because that's what you're here for. You're here to show us the budget, not tell us that there is one. it's in there, but I'm not going to show you.
A lot of priorities from the previous administration. We have those details and that information, and we will get
Well,
it
the
to you.
committee needs those details. So this committee has also worked hard alongside the department to improve
You could probably find it on Signal. That's a good point.
recruitment and meet retention goals. The department is planning to separate several thousand service members due to your partisan beliefs about troops who are transgender. Mr. Secretary, I've seen your speeches and social media posts, but what I'm interested in is the sound policy analysis that we would expect from the Secretary of Defense on how this misguided decision will impact military readiness. My colleagues and I have requested this information from you, and we are still waiting to receive it. And so I will.
There's that transparency again, right? Could you explain your decision making on transgender people in the military, about gay people in the military? Because we just want to know. You say that you've made decisions. We have oversight. We need to know. We have constituents we need to talk to, and we need to know your rationale, because that's your fucking job, is to tell us. And we've asked for it, we've asked for it, and we've asked for it, and you won't give it to us. And the Republicans in the chat just heard trans people and immediately got a boner, and now here comes in the chat people like being anti-trans. But could we get an answer to anything, Pete?
I will ask you now, what assessment did the Department of Defense conduct prior to implementation to evaluate the impact that this policy would have on our national security? Moreover, what is the cost to recruit and train thousands of individuals of comparable experience and skill?
Thankfully, recruiting is not an issue. It's at historically high levels, and we're proud of the cross-section of Americans that are
What
joining.
analysis did you?
Not the question she asked, but let me. This is another little game that these bitches are playing. Guess how many quarters in a row we've seen, or years in a row, we've seen an uptick in military, I guess, whatever, signups for like the last 3 years. And it goes up about the same amount every time. You know what? You know where we were? This is the same thing that like Trump does. It's the same game when it's like, we have historic highs in the stock market. Yeah, guess who had the historic highs before you? Obama. And before him, Bush. Guess who had the historic high levels before Donald Trump's first quarter? Joe Biden. Guess who had the record before that? Joe Biden. Guess who had the record before that? Joe Biden. They're continuing a trend of people joining the military. This is a lie. Them saying that they're getting more people in the military because they're banning transgender people is just a fucking lie. The truth is, if we're going to be real honest, people are motivated by money, and people are motivated by access to benefits. And one of the few places that you're guaranteed at least a salary and some benefits, and you don't have to worry about the place getting shut down or being taken or being gutted and sold, is the military. So if you're looking for a stable job right now when the economy is dog shit, you might look at the military. Oh, and by the way, they have retirement in the military. How many jobs are you guys applying for? Anybody that's applying for jobs right now, how many of them offer retirement benefits? How many of them offer to pay for your schooling? How many of them promise that if you get hurt on the job, you'll get disability? They like have their own version of disability. The Army is it's a good place for people to go if you want like a stable job. And it's been like we've had recruitment numbers going up. This is a lie that they're telling you to try and convince you that more people are signing up because they hate trans people. If that were true, then previously we would have seen a decline, but we weren't seeing a decline. It was going up. There's no evidence that what he's saying right now is true. And by the way, the question that she asked was, can you provide the evidence that you guys went through, and could you provide me the numbers of how long it's going to take to replace the people in the military who that you've removed who are transgender or who have quit, and get the same amount of competence out of them? What did you guys look at when you made this decision? He didn't look at it. Spoiler, he didn't look at anything. He just hates trans people. He's just a Christian white nationalist. That's the real answer, which is why he's not going to tell you what they looked at, because they didn't look at anything.
We did extensive analysis, Senator, and we agree with the assessment of the executive order that was issued by the White House that there are mental health issues associated with gender dysphoria that complicate military service and readiness, and as a result, we made the decision.
What about PTSD? You guys talk about that? If I went and I looked at like violent crime, or if specifically like spousal abuse, domestic violence, a lot of that comes from PTSD, or at least that's the trigger. Do you get removed from the military when you have PTSD? No, almost everybody who's in combat has PTSD. It's just whether or not it's debilitating or not, right? So if you're gonna make this argument that gender dysphoria makes it harder for people to serve, well, then you're gonna have to explain like at what level. Because I think that there are some conditions that people have that do make it impossible for them to serve. And if you're going to make the argument that gender dysphoria, the argument he's making, that gender dysphoria makes it so that you cannot effectively serve, well, then we need some evidence of that, because there's a lot of things, like anxiety could make you unable to serve, but not everybody with anxiety is unable to serve. ADHD might make you unable to serve. Autism might make you unable to serve. There are a lot of things that physically could make you unable to serve, or mentally make you unable to serve. But you have to research at what point does it make you unable to serve. So if you're going to say, like, you're going to make this argument that, oh, it's gender dysphoria, and because it's a mental condition, you can't serve, you're going to have to get rid of fucking everybody in the military. Everybody. Like, we all have conditions. We all have, like, I have ADHD. Could that make me unable to serve? I don't know. If I had it severe enough, could it make me unable to serve? Sure. So should you get rid of me because I also have ADHD? What about all the other people in the military that have ADHD? She's asking for this evidence to understand what their process was, and he just told you what the process was. I believe that being trans is a mental illness, and so you can't be in the military. That's what he said. It's just a belief.
For that analysis, please provide it to me and the committee.
We will provide it.
And then, Mr. Secretary, I think we can
That's a good point, too. Gender dysphoria affects more cisgender people than transgender people. Fuck, that's a good point. I'm so glad you said that. Thank you. That's a great fucking point.
Agree that we are at a critical point
are cisgender people, and that would be a good follow-up question. Are cisgender people being removed from the military for gender dysphoria? That'd be a great follow-up. I'm going to guess no.
History with respect to global threats that need to counter adversaries like China and Iran. You've gotten a number of questions along those lines. And I'm disappointed that you are instead focusing on a class of ships named for civil rights leaders. You chose Pride Month to direct the Navy to rename a ship named for Navy veteran Harvey Milk. This committee will continue to pursue serious work in the interests of American national security And I ask you to choose to join us in that endeavor.
Senator, we're not interested in naming ships after activists.
You're an activist. You're the Secretary of Defense because you are an activist. That's who you are. Notice how none of our other Secretary of Defenses were on TV all the time, doing podcasts all the time, hosting press conferences all the time. This is an activist. You just don't like that. You just don't like that Harvey Milk was gay. This is embarrassing. Whatever you think, like I understand some of you homophobic douchebags here don't like Harvey Milk, and you don't think that anybody should, the military should ever celebrate a gay person. I get it. You're homophobic. You're bigoted. That's fine. But his reasoning never checks out. Now, remember, he didn't answer any of her questions about the budget. He didn't answer any of her questions about their decisions to remove transgender people from the military. And now this activist said, we don't celebrate activists. That's all you celebrate, you dipshit. That's all he does. He's literally just an activist. That's who he's been his whole career. And now he's the Secretary of Defense. He's like, oh, we don't like activism over here. No, you like authoritarianism. I think he likes that Trump tells him what to do. I think he likes having a daddy there. All right, just a reminder. Let me read that real quick. We are crowdfunded. And we have a gift goal every day. Ash said, you're a fact teller, Jay. Kudos on the good work. Thank you very much. Frustrated today, if we're being honest. I'm a little worn out today. But above me are the payment apps. We also do super chats. I'll read anything that you have to say. What do we got? An hour and a half-ish left of the show. If we could get close to knocking that out, that would be wonderful. If not, we'll keep going anyways. All right. I want to show you what they're doing at the Pentagon now, too. On top of no transparency, on top of Pete Hegseth refusing to come before Congress and do his job and tell you where we're going to spend money and how we're going to allocate money and how they're making decisions, Pete Hegseth has decided, I'm not going to tell anybody the truth ever. I'm just going to do whatever the fuck I want. And now listen to what he's doing at the Pentagon.
Changes, and why does it matter to the ability of... What are the changes? And why does it matter to the ability of a day-to-day Pentagon correspondent to do his or her job?
So I'm off the daily beat,
right.
But I was over there this afternoon, and it's night and day. The rules are now that a reporter can only leave his booth or desk to go visit one of the public affairs officers for the various armed services and departments. And he has to be escorted in order to do that. Now, there's an exception for potty breaks, and you get to go to one food court. But basically, reporters are no longer able to roam the hallways. And I think most secretaries of defense, when they arrive at the Pentagon, are surprised by how open that building is, or now was. Yeah. Reporters are free to roam the halls. That doesn't give you unfettered access. The classified information is in locations that are behind these vault-like doors that require special passes to get through. But it's like a cop walking the beat. Mm-hmm. How do you get to know your neighborhood? Right. You walk the beat.
Right.
And that's what I did.
Remember when Pete Hegseth said we will be the most transparent military in the history of our country? Now we don't have access. And the reason he's doing this is they're trying to prevent leaks. And you know what? You know what never happens? You never have problems with leaks with administrations who are like following the law. All of the leaks that keep coming out from the Pentagon are like things like they're sharing war plans on Signal. And so now they're shutting down access to the press because nobody in this administration ever wants transparency. Nobody ever wants to be held accountable for anything. So now we'll just ban the press from everything.
For 40 years. I mean, it's not very glamorous, but you just get to know the place and the people.
And in that process of walking the beat, you run into, you see, you encounter sources and information that might differ or illuminate the official word that comes from the Pentagon or the various branches?
Well, that's the aim.
That's the aim.
Certainly, you want to pierce the public facade that any institution presents, and you want to find out what's really going on. And for me, that meant walking around the building. I'm sure I hold the world record for a number of miles walked in the Pentagon.
Right.
And if this restriction stands, that record will be retired.
And it's my impression, David, also that there is a dramatic reduction in briefings. And there were almost no briefings. Maybe there might have been one, but maybe not even one, when there was a day-to-day kinetic operation by the U.S. military with Houthis in Yemen.
That's right.
I want you to notice in the chat right now what Republicans are doing, and this is why we call you bootlickers. You are justifying. You've decided that the media is corrupt, and so it's okay for the government not to tell you anything anymore. If I was running a government and I didn't want anybody to question me, and I didn't want any transparency, what I would do is I would convince all of you that the media was corrupt. And so by not telling you, by keeping all this information from you, I was actually doing it for you. If the media is corrupt, why not tell them the truth? What could they possibly do? You know what I mean? Like, what are they going to do? Lie? Correct them. Now you're saying because you think the media lies that the government doesn't have to be transparent anymore? This is why we say, like, we're going to get, like, dumb walked into fascism. You guys don't see the game. You have no clue what you're watching right now. You're literally in here as an American freedom-loving patriot going, yeah, it's probably best that our government doesn't tell us anything. It's probably best. And the thing is that I don't think that you really believe that. I think you don't know how to explain what's happening. I think you guys have run out of defenses for what's happening. And so your excuses sound fucking stupid. Like the dumbest fucking excuses. Every time you look at like any country, you look at, we use Germany all the time. Like, how did all these Nazis fall for it? Because they were like you. They kind of agreed that like Jewish people were the problem. And then when it got escalated and Hitler started saying crazy things, they're like, well, yeah, he really shouldn't tell the press. Yeah, he really, maybe Hitler should be in charge of everything. Maybe the rest of our governing bodies should just do whatever Hitler says. Yeah, everything's too bad. We just need a dictator. So you guys are just saying right now that you need a dictator. We desperately need a dictator. Isn't that weird? Isn't that a weird thing for you to say? With that MAGA hat on, with that American flag. I love America. I love freedom, baby. Well, except for when we need the government to tell us what they're doing, then I don't want it. I do want to say also, I know there's a bunch of super chats that have come through. I don't know why they're not. I can't see them. I don't know if it's an issue with Streamlabs or what. So I apologize on the super chat stuff. I can see that there have been super chats, but I can't see any of them. All I can see is stuff from yesterday. So I have no idea why it's doing that. So I apologize for anybody who's sending super chats. Please continue to do it though. That'd be great.
There's no venue in which to sort of routinely question Pentagon officials. I mean, this is not just a war on leaks. Every administration
carries that out to one level or another.
War on leaks. This, at least from my perspective, is making the Pentagon as difficult to cover as possible. And, the next step is to ban reporters entirely from the Pentagon, and that's why the reporters I've talked to that are still on the beat, they're not going to try and find workarounds to this policy because they don't want to trigger the next sanction.
So this is earlier, whoever it was said like history repeats itself. I don't remember. Oh, that was Chris Cuomo. This is history repeating itself. In the early 2000s, as we escalated towards obviously you have September 11th, but even before that, like things were escalating in the Middle East. And what the government did is the government started running like more secret operations, and they kept things more secretive. And they told you over and over again that the reason they had to do this was to keep you safe. And then we had September 11th, and then we had the invasion of Iraq, and then we had the invasion of Afghanistan. And once we were far enough away from September 11th that like the emotions cleared, we realized that what our government did in the wake of 9/11, in the wake of us feeling scared, is that they took an extraordinary amount of power, consolidated it with themselves, and they took away a lot of your privacy. That was the Patriot Act. And it was so unpopular later on that we undid the Patriot Act. That it doesn't, the Patriot Act is gone. But then the same people, the same branch, the conservatives, it's the conservatives again. They started telling you about these migrant caravans. And they started talking to you about radical Islam. And they started talking to you about China. And they started talking to you about Russia until Trump came in. Then Russia was fine. And they just started scaring you again over and over and over. We need access to all your data so we can fight this war with China and Russia. And they just strip your rights away. And they do it through fear. They're doing it right now. When they're handing over the controls to Palantir and they're saying like, oh, we have to do this so we can track down illegal immigrants. You're like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm afraid of illegal immigrants. They are hurting me. So we need to track them down. So I'm okay losing my rights to keep myself safe. Take one step back. And I'll issue the challenge again to anybody in the chat. How have illegal immigrants impacted your life? Illegal immigration. If you can point to instances where people who were here illegally committed crimes, but I could 10x that with people who are here legally. You are at more danger from somebody here legally than illegally. Just that's the truth. They use fear, they manufacture fear so they can strip your rights. And now what are we doing? We're doing the same shit. Remember Dick Cheney? You remember how we all hate Dick Cheney? Raise your hand if you hate Dick Cheney. I think we'll get some bipartisanship here. Everybody hates Dick Cheney. Why do we hate Dick Cheney? Because Dick Cheney was doing shit behind our backs. He was handing out military contracts to his friends behind our backs. And they used the threat of ICE, it wasn't ICE at the time, the Taliban at the time, and Islamic fundamentalists, and they used that threat to hide all that shit from you. And then years later, after the emotion died down, everybody came together and we were like, oh yeah, Dick Cheney's a fucking corrupt motherfucker. We don't like this guy. He stripped away our rights just so he could give his friends a bunch of money. That's exactly what is happening right now. Is there a real threat? Nope. At least back then there was like more of a threat. Is there a real threat? Mm-mm. Are immigrants a real threat to American sovereignty? No. Are they a real threat to your rights? Mm-mm. Who's threatening us? The crazy thing here is like, I guess Republicans have just learned that the threat doesn't even have to be real to scare Republicans into handing over their rights. And they hand over those rights to the very people, Palantir, whose stated objective is to end democracy. They want to end democracy, create a police state, end the government, and have private countries operated by billionaires. That is their stated goal. And so if Palantir wants to get all this control and accomplish their agenda, and they're going to need the government to hand them over some power. So what do? They feed you full of a whole bunch of hysteria about immigrants, and you get upset, and you get scared, and you turn on Fox News, and Fox News scares you every night, and you turn on TikTok, and they scare you every day, and you read whatever you read on Twitter or Facebook, and it scares you, and you go, you know what? I understand that we're giving access to Palantir, but we have to. It's a must. It's to keep our country safe. None of you are in danger. It has never been more safe to be an American citizen than right fucking now. This is as safe as we've been in every one of your lives. You have never been safer. And they have convinced you that you're in so much danger that you need to hand over your rights and that the military needs to be in the streets. You are safe. We are safe. Nobody's even attacking us. There are wars across the world and nobody wants to even engage with us. Nobody is fucking with us right now. You're handing away your rights because you're too dumb to figure it out. And I believe it's out of loyalty to Donald Trump. It's out of hatred for the left. So no matter what Donald Trump says, you're going to go with because we're opposing it. Rightfully so. Every bit of data says you are safe. Show me a data set that shows that you're not safe. Every one of you is just going to be like, Lincoln Riley. Yeah, a story. Notice that. Everything you're afraid of is some fucking story you heard. But when you pull the data and you look at violent crime and you look about how safe you are, you're more safe now than you were 20 years ago. You're more safe now than you were 40 years ago. And yet, we are allowing unprecedented control and access to our lives by handing it over to the government, who is then handing it over to people who paid them some money. And it's not even through Congress. You're just going to bypass Congress. Trump's going to make all the money. He's going to get money hand over fist. His buddies are going to make money hand over fist. And they're selling you out right under your nose by scaring you about immigrants. Immigrants are scary. Okay, you can have all my rights now. That's what's baffling about this time period. And when we look back on history, just 20 years later, every American citizen is going to go, huh? Wait, what? They were afraid of what? Wait, the military was called in for what? They were just standing in the way of ICE, so they called in the military? Why was ICE doing these deportations? Oh, there was an invasion. So all these immigrants were coming in and doing a bunch of violent crime? No. Violent crime actually went down. What? Wait, so why was people are going to be baffled by this. At the safest time in American history, you guys are like, here you go. Here's all our rights. Just take them.
If they're afraid that if they push back on this very strong limitation on their previous full access to the building, they might be kicked out, evicted from the entire building, and they don't want to risk that.
Right. And as part of this new regime, reporters are going to be issued different press passes, which are going to be much more identifiable as press passes. Right now, if I were walking around with my building pass on, you wouldn't know whether I was a reporter or not. But now they're going to put the scarlet P someplace on us and make sure everybody knows that person's a reporter.
Juan, how are we blocking your comments if people are responding to you and I can read your comments? You guys are professional victims. There's nothing that Republicans love to do more than being victims. 2.5 hours in, not one of you guys has the balls to come up here and have a discussion. You're just going to sit down there and complain about being everybody picks on us. Denise said, love an RTP rant. They're getting lengthy. I apologize. Francis said, dictator growth for Munda due to improper cleaning. That's good. Let me update this. I apologize on the super chats. Maybe you guys, I don't know if you guys can see them or not, but if you can, I apologize if this number is incorrect. I don't know what's going on with Streamlabs today. It's just, of course, on the day Jen's not here would be the day that Streamlabs doesn't work. All right. Discord isn't letting me attach images. Okay. I'm checking. Oh, check my text. Oh, hey, Jen. You are here?
Kinda. Not really. But kinda. So check text. I'll send it to you in text. Discord, for whatever reason, isn't letting me attach images. I don't know why.
Okay, I see all the super chats now. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Amy, let's see. Charles said, is she making our Gen calendar? Amy said, my local sheriff says they'll be there to protect protesters. He thinks he'll be arrested. Amy also said, if you can conceal carry, do. If masked men try to pull you out and hiding their face, no badge, and so on, defend yourself. Valerie, thanks for the super chat. Hey, howdy, said dipshittery. Flanker 420 said the strongest nation does not need to bang its chest and do parades with goose-stepping soldiers. That's USSR, North Korean nonsense. What the fuck are we doing? I added the fuck. First they came for immigrants, but it wasn't me. Then they came for socialists, communists, atheists, then me. Can't make this norm learn from history. FOD said raw milk brought to you by J&J catheters. Chip said you're doing a fantastic job, bud. Keep speaking the truth. Lunatic said he ran on deportations and won the popular vote. I would say he's facilitating the will of the majority. That is democracy. That is how democracy works. The left's mentality of do as we demand or else is fascism, bro. Lunatic, you don't know what our fucking argument is. I have to do this every day, but I'm going to tell you one more time. Nobody is opposing deporting illegal immigrants. That's not what the protests are about. That's not what people in Los Angeles are protesting. They are protesting the cruelty. This is an ineffective way to do deportations. This is the most ineffective way. They are deporting less people than the predecessors, and they're doing it in a cruel way. I think this is like the problem we consistently run into. You guys don't know what we're protesting. So I appreciate you saying that. I do know that Trump ran on deportations. He didn't run on like busting into workplaces, kidnapping people off the side of the street, ripping mothers away from their children. There are ways that you can do this humanely. We have a problem with the lack of humanity. And I literally have to say this every single day, and it won't change. Because you guys have to hopefully you're here for the first time. You guys have, in order for what you do to make sense or to be justified, you have to make up an argument that is more crazy than what you're doing. So you guys justify the cruelty because you think what we want is unfettered illegal immigration, open borders, illegal immigration, whenever. We don't want that. What we want is legal immigration, and we want deportations to be humane. But it doesn't, if you said the libs want deportations to be humane, and that's why we're against them, people will be like, that's weird. Why don't you want humane deportations? That's our argument. We are upset at the lack of humanity. We are upset at masked, unnamed police officers ripping people from the streets, from their families, from their workplaces, and then videotaping them and making propaganda videos about them. It's the cruelty that we oppose, not the deportations. So if you now how do you argue it? Now what's the argument, Republicans? See how this doesn't work? Because you're not going to be like, no, we need to do it in a cruel manner. You wouldn't say that. You wouldn't say like, let's not be humane, because you'd sound like a fucking psycho. So in order for you to justify the lack of humanity coming from your side, you have to lie about our position. You have to make it sound crazier than it is so that you can justify your own actions. Why don't you just be honest? Why don't you just be honest? The deportations are inhumane. They are cruel. The propaganda videos are batshit crazy. We're using taxpayer dollars to create propaganda videos to go on the DHS website. What do you think? The immigrants are like, I wonder, I'm thinking of going to America. Let me go to dhs.gov. Oh, that's scary. I won't go. No, it's a circle jerk of cruelty. And you guys just keep justifying it by lying about what we think and what we say. That's the problem with America. You have no fucking clue what anybody outside of your party believes. And you guys don't believe in anything. So it makes it impossible to have a debate. The debates we had on Tuesday, when it was with Scott, I spent the first 30 minutes of the debate arguing like with Scott, like, I didn't say that. Nobody said that. Nobody thinks that's what's going on. It's just straw man after straw man after straw man. But when you break it down to what our argument is, you guys are going to sound insane. And that's why you lie about it. And even those of you that are here, that come in here every day, and you hear me say this every day, you will leave today and you will repeat the same dumb shit because it's the only way your cruelty makes any sense. The only way you can justify is to say, theirs is worse. What they want is worse, so we're doing it this way. But even if what we wanted was unlimited illegal immigration and open borders, you could still choose to do this in a way that was humane, and you don't. Because cruelty, it must be the point. If it's not the point, then why do it this way? Obama and Biden both deported way more people. And we didn't do propaganda videos. We didn't have massive ICE raids. We didn't have protests. Why? Because they chose to do it humanely. Stop being professional victims. I know that your president is the most thin-skinned little bitch that the world has ever seen. A man who literally has made it 82 years in life without ever admitting that he was wrong. A person who is so litigious that he is suing people for saying mean things about him. He's using his position as president to sue journalists for saying mean things about him. He's a little bitch, and I understand that you support him, but you don't have to be bitches too. You don't. You could just act like adults and not fucking toddlers. I'm so tired of every day. Every day I turn on the TV, and this is why it breaks up families. I have a terrible relationship with my family. Terrible. And I've tried over and over to repair it, and they do too. But there is a massive fucking wedge an unspoken wedge between me and my family, because no matter how many times I tell them what I believe, they believe what Fox News tells them I believe. And no matter how many times we have the fucking conversation, I can look right in my own family's face and say, here's what I believe. And then they turn on Sean Hannity and they're like, oh, well, he believes this. So there's this weird fucking gap where they think that they're told every day that my side of the aisle has a particular argument that we don't have. This is why we're fucked. You do not live in reality. You allow other people to shape your reality and dictate to you what you should feel. You allow it every day, and you repeat the same shit every day in here. I've said this exact thing every day for 2 weeks, and the same dipshits show up in the chat every day, and you guys say the same fucking thing. You don't even want this to end. This is your life. It is who you have become. It is what wakes you up and drives you in the morning. Otherwise, explain why you're here. What are you doing here? You're here to tell me that my opinion isn't my opinion every day. Every day I give you my opinion. You're like, that's not really it. You actually have a different opinion than that. All to make it so that your side of the aisle doesn't look fucking crazy to you. But you are crazy. Donald Trump is crazy. He can't form sentences. He doesn't make any sense. He has no clue what he's doing. This whole administration is full of incompetent, self-serving psychopaths. The whole thing. They're all getting rich right now. And they're doing nothing for you. And you still think we're crazy. It's wild. It's wild. Name one, what are we doing that's crazy? I'll give you Republicans a chat. What did Joe Biden's administration do that was crazy? Let's hear what you have to say. They just arrested a senator? What the fuck? Is this real?
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your heads off.
How many of our ICE agents have been doxxed for doing their duty, how they have been targeted.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla.
All right. What the fuck? What? What? We're arresting senators for trying to ask for interrupting a press conference? All right. What do we even say about that?
Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go and stand behind my back.
Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go and stand behind my back.
All right. Cool. Okay, one hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
There's no recording allowed out here. I did not know. There's no recording allowed out here per FBI, right? Hands behind your back.
Wow. Republicans, that's your guy, Brian Vetter, there in the comments. Arrest more senators. There's the Republicans we know. You guys know about this? I forgot about this. Keep telling me it's not fascism. See if I can find this.
It says, Dear Hassan Piker, thank you for your participation in the Global Entry Program of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Global Entry is a voluntary...
You can't spell sergeant, Brian. You fix it.
Program available to travelers that pass a comprehensive background investigation. Applicants found to be ineligible for global entry participation may still be permitted to enter into the United States, although they will not be permitted to use the global entry lanes. We regret to inform you that your membership in global entry has been revoked for the following reason, in parentheses S, reasons. There's a big space there, and the only thing that it says is, you do not meet program eligibility requirements. This is after they gave it to me. So that's it. Was it revoked before Trump's inauguration? No, after.
Gets his global entry. Just why? Because he talks bad about this administration. Global entry removed. I honestly, like, I'm baffled. It's been a lot. It's hard to get me shook. I'm shook. Like, we arrested a senator for interrupting a press conference. Pardon J6ers, by the way. This is it's unprecedented. Just I don't know what to say. I guess we're there. I think we're gonna find out what kind of people you guys are real soon. Honestly, I don't even know where to go with this. Yeah, I can show it again. Let's see. Let me pull this video. Here's the first video.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your heads off.
How many of our ICE agents have been doxxed for doing their duty, how they have been targeted.
I'm Senator.
And then where's the rest of it? Here's the rest of it.
Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go, I stand behind my back.
All right. Cool. One hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
There's no recording allowed out here. I did not know. There's no recording allowed out here for FBI, right?
I'm looking for if there's more video than before that. Oh, here's a full. This one's a minute long. That looks like before. I can just show you what the videos are looking like on Twitter. I don't see. I mean, this one's there's one that's a minute long, but it looks like it starts in the same spot. Let's see.
Guys, ready? And balancing. Sir, hands up, hands up. I'm
Whoops.
and balancing. Sir, hands up, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your heads off.
How many of our ICE
Well, he was detained. He might not be detained anymore, but he was detained and arrested. I don't know if there's any more leading up to that. Looks like the same one. And I don't think I see anyone else. If anybody gets like a video from before that time, let me know. I mean, there were so many cameras in there. It seems like somebody would have a longer video. I don't know. If somebody gets it, maybe put it in Discord. I honestly, if it doesn't alarm you, I don't know what to tell you. It sounds like big boats talking shit. If this isn't alarming, I have no idea what like this is fascism. Those are elected leaders. They have every right to ask a question, and if they interrupt a meeting, for the love of God, like take them out and cuff them, put them on the ground and cuff them. This is Trump's America. This doesn't happen. Like, if you guys didn't elect Trump, if you had elected Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis, none of this happens. I can't stand them either. But this is Trump. I think the hardest part about this many years of Trump now is the amount of destruction he has done to the fabric of the country and the amount of division that he has caused. The stuff we're divided over is so unbelievably fucking stupid. Like, we can't just agree that everybody should like have rights and that the government shouldn't like fuck with you and the government shouldn't force you to do things. Shouldn't force you to have speech. For the love of God, we're attacking universities. We're attacking newspapers. We're attacking senators. We're attacking law enforcement. Why? Because people tried to hold Trump accountable. That's the craziest part. The whole reason we're seeing this is because people tried to hold Donald Trump to the same law that all of us would be held to. And you guys didn't want to believe it. And so now we're all paying for it. We're all paying for an 80-year-old psychopath. By the way, you know why people are mad at Kristi Noem? Because she's a fucking idiot. She doesn't have answers to any questions. She's blown through her budget already. She just told us for weeks, Abrego Garcia doesn't get due process. Pam Bondi said the same thing. And then they overnight change their opinion and you guys go with them. It's not really even incompetence at this point. It's just like objectively, it's just lawlessness. It's just a decision that because Trump won the election, that no laws matter anymore. The only laws that matter are the ones that Trump wants to enforce. And for his people, they're allowed to break the law. They're allowed to commit any crime they want, and Trump will just let them off the hook. And if you don't like Trump, you get fucked. I know that it's like the Padilla thing is alarming, but this is exactly how I felt when I saw that they revoked Hassan's global entry. He passed all the background checks. And the reason for his global entry being denied was just like, oh, you don't fit the criteria. We all know what the criteria is. There are different rights now in this country if you are a Trump supporter or if you are not. And if you support Donald Trump, you have more rights. It might not affect all of you now, but it does affect some people. Right now, it's affecting prominent Democrats, prominent people on the left. But you better believe like it'll get to you. And is that what you wanted, I guess, Republicans? You just wanted to get rid of all the Democrats? Just get them out of the country? So what? So states could be run more like Alabama? You guys are fucked without Democrats. You are fucked without blue cities. If Republicans took over Los Angeles, it would be bankrupt in 5 years. And I'm not talking about in debt. They're in debt now. You would bankrupt it. And none of your kids would be able to read. You guys are so bad at legislating that by almost every measure, red states' outcomes are worse. Every measure that actually affects your life. Your health, your education, your income, your freedom, your education. In every objective measure, or by every objective measure, red states are substantially worse than blue states. And we pay all your bills. The blue states pay all your bills too. You guys are just like welfare recipients that complain about the welfare. I don't like the people that are paying all of our bills because they pay too much in taxes. What? We have to. We have to pay for education. And then we have to pay income taxes to pay for your dumbass states. California pays for your state to exist. New York pays for your state to exist. I don't know how the fuck we got here, that the dumbest people in our country are the ones in charge. I did want to show you something that I thought was cool, though, from yesterday. These were from the protests in L.A. turned riots. This is I think it's a sushi restaurant where some people who wanted to come in and loot a sushi restaurant were pushed back, and they got pushed back by the protesters.
No, we don't do that shit, homie. Making us look bad. Damn. Now you good. Let's go. Hey, get the fuck out!
No police, just the protesters taking care of business. That's pretty cool. here's our side of the aisle. You guys really, from our side of the aisle, we're gonna on today. Like, you think the most important thing right now is that I correctly use the word looters and rioters. We're just gonna like tone police all day. All right, looters. Sorry, I called it a riot. That's my bad. I'm sorry I incorrectly used a word. I think every time, look, Katie, with all due respect, I think every time I say riot, you finish. God damn, you get all excited every time I say riot. What are we doing, man? There's bigger issues than this right now. God.
What's going on, buddy? Breaking shit now? Yo. Oh, shit.
Anyways, I thought that was cool. I think I'm just gonna. I think I'm just gonna shut it down for the day. I have no. I feel like no matter what I show the next hour, it's not gonna compare to what we've just watched. Like I legit, like, I'm pretty shook by what's happening right now. And the rest of what I have is just going to be showing more stuff to get people worked up. I got the Fort Bragg speech. I've got the LA protests, riots, looters, whatever. I don't think, based on my outline, I don't think like inflaming more people is the right thing to do today. I think people need to sit with what happened today. And I think, I don't know. I wasn't prepared for that. And I'm not sure exactly how to handle that. Anyways, I appreciate you guys being here. And I will be back tomorrow. It's Friendly Friday tomorrow. And I hopefully will have more details. I'm not sorry, actually. I'm not sorry. I think everybody should feel this. And if you don't feel this, I think you should. So I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 9:30 till 1 Pacific Standard Time here, wherever you're watching. Take care of yourselves. Be careful out there, and stay cute and cool. Have a great summer.